More electric vehicles are entering the market all the time. Today I'll be taking a look at some of the most interesting I've seen. Join me as we take a look at 15 of the best electric supercars. Number 15. Pininfarina Batista. Manufactured by Automobili Pininfarina GmbH, which is headquartered in Munich, Germany, with roots in the Italian car design firm and coach builder Pininfarina. This electric sports car is named after the founder of the company, Battista Pininfarina. Unveiled at the 2019 Geneva Motor Show, the Batista is built for speed, comfort, and safety. It's powered by a 120 kilowatt battery pack, making go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in under 2 seconds, and 0 to 300 kilometers per hour in under 12 seconds. And it's also got a top speed of 350 kph. So yeah, this is one seriously fast car, no doubt helped by the 4 individual motors on each wheel, which together provide a power output of 1,400 kilowatts and 2,300 newton meters of torque. And with insane levels of power like that, you really need it to be safe. And luckily, the Batista features carbon ceramic brake discs equipped with 6-piston calipers, which act to improve stopping power. Not only that, but it has a carbon fiber chassis with aluminum crash structures at the front and rear, so if you crash at 350 kilometers an hour, then, well, I don't want to say you'll be safe, but maybe you'll be safer. If you like the look of the Pininfarina Batista, then you can pick one up for a very reasonably priced $2.5 million. In fact, at that price, why not buy 2? Number 14. Lotus Evora. First unveiled in July of 2019, the Lotus Evora is a limited production electric sports car and the first to be produced by Lotus. With a production limited to only 130 units, this ridiculously expensive car has many code names during its production process, such as the Type 130 and Omega. But the story behind its real name is much more interesting, meaning alive or living. The name Evora is derived from the biblical character Eve, because of the same way that Eve was the first woman. Evora is the first electric car to be manufactured by Lotus. It's powered by a 70 kilowatt battery pack and 4 electric motors of 368 kilowatts each. And this thing has a combined total output of 1,427 kilowatts and 1,700 newton meters of torque. Lotus also claimed that the Evora will be able to accelerate from 0 to 100 kph in under 3 seconds and from 0 to 300 in under 9 seconds, and achieve a top speed of over 320 kilometers an hour. Since the prototype underwent high-speed testing back in November 2019, electric supercar fans have been waiting with bated breath for the official release date. In the meantime, it's become a familiar sight as a playable car in several video games, such as Asphalt 9 Legends, Asphalt 8 Airborne, Project Cars 3, Forza Horizon 5, and Real Racing 3. Number 13. Draco Motors GTE. This is another electric supercar which was only produced in seriously limited numbers. So if you've got a spare $1.25 million burning a hole in your pocket, then you might want to run out the front door right now to see if there are any left. As you can see, Draco Motors GTE is one beautiful looking car. It's the brainchild of 2 Silicon Valley engineers and entrepreneurs. It ticks all the boxes you'd expect to be ticked on a car with this kind of price tag. With a combined 1,200 brake horsepower, 8,800 newton meters of torque, and 4 electric motors, this stunning car boasts a 200 mile/hour top speed, which according to Draco Motors leaves the driver feeling as if the laws of physics have been exceeded. Only 25 examples of this car were ever produced, which makes it desirable enough, of course, but it also has some top automotive brains involved in its design, such as famed racer, restorer, and all-around car guru Bruce Canepa, whose thoughts and opinions added instant credibility to the project. At the time of its release, the GTE was supposedly the world's most powerful GT model, although it's been seen as a sensible choice for those with daily family hauling duties. And when I say sensible, of course I mean sensible if you're a multi-millionaire. Number 12. Neo EP9. Look at this thing. You could almost hear all the electric supercar fans drooling over their keyboards and smartphone screens. This manufacturer has a similar name to Keanu Reeves' character in The Matrix, and if you own this car, then you'd probably just take that blue pill and make sure nothing in your life changed whatsoever. I mean, this car not only looks amazing, but it also set the record for the fastest lap by an electric vehicle on the Circuit of the Americas, Shanghai International Circuit, and the Circuit Paul Ricard tracks. So this thing, ladies and gentlemen, is fast. And if you thought some of our previous entries had exclusive limited runs, then get a load of this. After being unveiled at the Saatchi Gallery in London, England, 6 EP9s were sold for £2.5 million each. And you know who they were sold to? Neo investors. That's right, they bought everything. After that, Neo announced that only 10 additional EP9s would be sold to the general public, so if you want to track one of these things down, then you might need a very good detective. On the other hand, you might also want to spend your money on something more practical, because the EP9 is not road legal, and none of the 16 models produced were ever registered for road use. Yep, they're purely for decoration. And that's pretty sad considering that each of the EP9's wheels has its own motor and transmission, with a total power output of 1 megawatt and a battery that can last for 265 miles before it needs charging. Number 11. Tesla Roadster. Production of the Tesla Roadster has been on and off for quite a few years now, possibly because its CEO is far too busy trying to get men to Mars, but the latest news is that it will finally be going into production in 2023. Described by Elon Musk with his traditional dramatic flourish as a hardcore smackdown to gasoline cars, Tesla initially made headlines when they unveiled the latest version of the Roadster. And to be fair, it does sound impressive. The claims that it could go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 1.9 seconds, had a top speed of over 250, and a range of 620 miles were certainly newsworthy, not to mention the insane 7,300 foot-pounds of torque, which is almost 6 times as much as the latest Bugatti Chiron. However, it's not worth getting too excited. As we've already mentioned, Tesla has become known for its delays in production, as much as it has for its founder and his wacky publicity stunts. Many of its models have suffered setbacks over the years, but if you fancy putting some pennies away for when that big day comes, you'll need to come up with at least $250,000 before you can drive one off the lot. Number 10. Dendrobium D1. If they ever remake Back to the Future, then this is the car they'll use to replace the DeLorean, no doubt with a nice little flux capacitor set into the dashboard. The Dendrobium D1 is an electric concept hypercar designed by the Williams F1 team, who were tasked with engineering and building the car for its grand unveiling at the 2017 Geneva Auto Show. This was on behalf of manufacturers Vanda Electrics, a Singapore-based company specializing in battery technology and electric mobility, and was reportedly intended as a publicity scheme to build interest and awareness of the brand. Named after an orchid species in Singapore, the Dendrobium design is likewise inspired by nature, with the rear hinged roof and doors meant to open like the petals of an orchid, not to mention the recurring theme of honeycomb patterns throughout. The car is engineered so the rear hinges are set up to withstand aerodynamic forces at high speeds, and it does a good job because this thing can go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in as little as 2.6 seconds, has a top speed of around 200 miles per hour, and a total power output of 1,000 brake horsepower. The original design for the D1 came into being back in the mid-1990s, though it wouldn't be until 2016 that Williams Advanced Engineering brought it to life, adorned it in an incredibly unique all-carbon fiber bodywork that the company calls a protocell carbon tub. Yep, that sounds like some kind of environmentally friendly food packaging. Number 9. Hispano Suiza Carmen Bulon. What can you say about this one? A classic Art Deco-inspired aesthetic with a thoroughly modern setup beneath, including double wishbone suspension and an ultralight carbon fiber chassis. This classy-looking electric supercar can be yours for around $1.7 million, although if you haggle with the salesman, he'll let you have it for about $169. The name Carmen Bulon is reference to one of the Spanish firm's historic race cars, and guess what? They're only producing them in limited numbers. With an overall output of just about 1,100 brake horsepower, the ability to go from 0 to 60 in 2 seconds, and a top speed of 180 miles per hour, the Hispano Suiza Carmen Bulon can leave most petrol cars eating its dust. And what's more, it'll be clean, unpolluting, eco-friendly dust. Only 5 examples of this car will be built, and if you want one, then you better be prepared to part with some serious cash. Number 8. Aston Martin Rapide E. Now, when we think of Aston Martin, one man immediately comes to mind. That's right, James Bond, 007, the functioning alcoholic ladies' man with a license to kill. Bond has driven an Aston Martin in every movie so far, but despite all the gadgets in Bond's cars, I think it's fair to say that even he would be impressed with this thing. The Rapide E was supposed to be Aston Martin's very first all-electric full-production car, housed in the form of their popular existing model, the Rapide. Hence the clever bit of wordplay. Rapide E, get it? So it looks like an Aston Martin, and there's no doubt about that. But it doesn't have the most recognizable Aston Martin trait of all, a 6-liter V12 engine. Instead of that, there's a bespoke battery pack encased in carbon fiber and Kevlar using more than 5,600 lithium-ion cells, providing a total power of 800 volts and 65 kilowatts. This 800-volt system, designed in collaboration with Williams Advanced Engineering, would supposedly be better at charging and offer greatly improved thermal characteristics than other electrical systems. Well, what about the speed, I hear you ask? Well, the Rapide E produced a total of 601 brake horsepower and 700 pound-feet of torque, which was sent rearwards to a pair of electric motors. In other words, it would go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 4 seconds, with a top speed of 155 miles per hour, probably limited. In addition to this, Aston claimed that because of the super battery they were using, the electric version would keep going just as long as a traditional Aston Martin with a full tank. That sounds impressive, right? Well, sadly, they never went into production. After 4 years of development, it was cancelled. Sorry, don't shoot the messenger. Number 7. Audi e-tron Gran Turismo. Yes, it looks like a racing car, and yes, it actually is a racing car. The Audi e-tron Gran Turismo is a 2-seater concept car developed by Audi Sport GmbH, and it already has a place in racing history. In 2017 and 2018, it was used as a race taxi for the ABB FIA Formula E Championships. In other words, customers of Audi were able to experience Formula E's city circuits as passengers, with either racing drivers Rahel Frey or Ronaldo Dindo Capello driving the concept car. There are also rumors that it will appear at the Goodwood Festival of Speed and the 24 Hours Nürburgring. It was first unveiled in April of 2018 at the Audi Competence Center Motorsport in Bavaria, Germany. 4 days after, 2 teaser trailers were released on YouTube, and since then has been deemed the first official, fully functioning concept car that can drive on the roads. Not only that, but it's also the first fully functioning concept car which matches the virtual and on-paper specs with what it can actually do in real life. It has 3 electric motors, each delivering 268 horsepower and 334 newton-meters of torque. Runs on permanent all-wheel drive, can go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 2.5 seconds, and has a top speed of 149 miles per hour. It's also appeared in a video game, Gran Turismo Sport, where you choose to drive 2 versions, one of which doesn't exist in the real world. Mind you, given the history of these kinds of cars not getting beyond the prototype stage, that's actually pretty normal. Most of them don't exist in the real world. Number 6. Alextra Electric Supercar. Yet another sleek and sexy-looking supercar that's currently waiting on the border of will this to go in production land. The Alextra Supercar is a 4-seat, 4-door electric vehicle, which, if everything goes according to plan, will be built in Stuttgart, Germany. Although even if everything does go to plan, the company's only planning to build 100 units. Yes, it's another one of those exclusive, limited-run kind of things. Car fanciers, get on your marks, get set, and prepare your checkbooks. According to Alextra, the car will be able to accelerate from 0 to 100 miles per hour in less than 2.3 seconds, and the body will be completely crafted from carbon fiber, resulting in a weight reduction of around 25% compared to an aluminum body. The drivetrain of the Alextra EV will consist of a dual motor and generate a maximum combined power output of 680 horsepower, with the torque being electronically dispersed to the front and rear wheels, which should hopefully for Alextra at least mean that it would be capable of a top speed of 155 miles per hour. If the projected 100 units do finally see the light of day, then you'll need to empty your wallet of around $445,000 before you can drive one off the lot. Number 5. GFG Style Kangaroo. Now, you may be disappointed, as I was, to find out that the GFG Style Kangaroo doesn't have a little mechanical pouch on the hood, which when opened reveals a much smaller version of the Kangaroo that you can play with. But even so, it's a fascinating and beautiful car. First revealed at the 2019 Geneva Motor Show, the Kangaroo was an attempt to combine the performance of a supercar with the utility of vehicles featuring a generous ground clearance. In other words, the Kangaroo is a futuristic, jacked-up EV. With sleek bodywork made entirely out of carbon fiber, this relatively lightweight vehicle also has something that many, if not all of the vehicles on this list do not: adjustable suspension. There are 3 modes, racing, road, and off-road, at 140, 190, and 260 millimeters respectively, and that ability to significantly raise the body from the driving surface enables the Kangaroo to tackle some seriously difficult terrain. The car has a range of around 280 miles due to its powerful battery pack, and its 2 electric motors putting out about 180 kilowatts. The total power output is around 483 brake horsepower. The prototype seems to have been very successful, with its designers claiming that this hyper SUV, a cross between a hypercar and a sporty SUV, should be able to accelerate from 0 to 62 miles per hour in only 3.8 seconds and top out at around 155. That's faster than any Kangaroo I've ever seen. Number 4. Genovation GXE. And yes, believe it or not, it's another electric supercar with a seriously limited run. Only 75 of these things are going to be made, and given its performance during a test drive at the end of 2019, they're probably going to be snapped up very quickly by speed lovers with money to burn. During a high-speed ride down the runway at Kennedy Space Center, the Genovation GXE beat its earlier top speed record for a street-legal electric vehicle, reaching 211.8 miles per hour and topping the previous attempt of 210.2 miles per hour. If we start suddenly seeing electric rockets go to space, we'll know that NASA was taking notes. The Genovation GXE packs a total of 800 brake horsepower and 974 Newton-meters of torque from the two motors powering the rear wheels. And Genovation's goal is for the vehicle to reach 60 miles per hour in less than 3 seconds. Not only this, but they don't appear to be entirely happy with their speed record, so are aiming for a top speed of 220 miles per hour. Even with all this power shooting around, they still estimate a range of over 175 miles before the car needs recharging, assuming you're not racing it down a runway at NASA with no regard for your own safety, of course. If you do manage to snap up one of the 75 production models, then prepare yourself to hand over $750,000. Number 3. Ford XWay Mustang Lithium. The word best is very subjective, of course, and when it comes to our lists, we can only offer our opinions based on certain qualities that we find desirable. And so, for number 3, we've gone with a modern reimagining of a classic, the Ford Mustang, or in this case, the Ford XWay Mustang Limited. Man, when did car names get so complicated? And why all the names? Well, this electrified version of the iconic American pony car was developed in collaboration with Transpotec powerhouse Webasto, which explains that part of the name, and it's kicked along by an EV powertrain comprised of a dual-core motor married to an 800-volt Webasto battery. So we're going to assume that that's where the lithium comes in. Unless this car is on some strong meds, then that must be the answer. Boasting double the output of Tesla Model S, this modern classic is fitted with Recaro race seats, Brembo 6-piston brakes, a track handling pack, carbon fiber side skirts and lip, and a fully operational 6-speed manual transmission. And you want to hear the bad news? Well, I'm afraid it's still in the prototype phase. Still, it's nice to look at and dream. Number 2. Aspar Owl. When you look at the Aspar Owl, you won't find yourself saying hoot hoot, but what? This incredible car must be one of the more eye-catching on our list, and if you saw this driving down the street, you certainly wouldn't immediately think it was an electric, although the quietness of the engine would probably give it away. The Aspar Owl was publicly unveiled in concept form at the 2017 Frankfurt Auto Show, with the production version being unveiled at the 2019 Dubai International Motor Show. It not only has a top speed of 249 miles per hour, but can also go from 0 to 60 in less than 2 seconds, and has a combined 2,000 Newton-meters of torque from its 4 electric motors. Everything about this Japanese-made supercar is insane. It's built around a carbon fiber monocoque chassis that's adorned in carbon fiber reinforced polymer bodywork, and it's hard to find a better example of the strides being made in the contemporary EV sector than the Aspar Owl. And if you're still wondering why we put this car in at number 2 on our list, well, if you're itching to run out and buy one now, then you won't be spending any less than $3.2 million. Number 1. Rimac C2. Why is this at number 1? Well, it's a name that comes up again and again in electric supercar circles, and I try not to fly in the face of public opinion. And if a top speed of 258 miles per hour isn't enough to impress you, then let's consider the designer. After blowing the engine on his BMW racing car, Croatian designer Mate Rimac started improvising ways to convert it into an electric car. A few years later, his expertise is so in demand from manufacturers like Porsche and many others that the big names are literally fighting each other for a slice of the action. The Rimac C2's top speed isn't the only crazy stat on this car. It also has a 400-mile range, thanks to a large 120-kilowatt cell, which has the rigor of a proper testing regime to underline its credibility. Like many ultra-high-performance electric cars, the C2 is built around a custom-designed carbon fiber monocoque chassis and has oodles of charisma thanks to that exotic low-profile supercar design. Upon its release, it was marketed as the fastest car in the world, which could well be true. But even if it's not, I think it's fair to say that car enthusiasts will be hearing a lot of the name Rimac over the next few years. All you need is $2 million, and you can take a Rimac C2 home with you today. Watch our Vehicles playlist for more top 15 videos about amazing vehicles. Sit back, relax, and binge watch all of our best vehicle videos.